Hey guys, it's Tommy here and welcome back to my channel and welcome to the third episode of this Let's Play Planet Coaster series, Heartland Towers. We're starting off this episode just by lighting up the Plaza that we built in the last episode. Just wanted to kind of make this really nice and bright really at night, just to make it welcoming, more sort of homely, if you like, as the guests come out of the spawn tunnel. I may have slightly overdone the lighting in hindsight, but I do think it works. It doesn't look odd with the amount of lights that are in, and I'd rather overdo it than underdo it for the entrance plaza anyway. I just want to make it, as I said, I just want to make it nice and bright, and just kind of all lit up, so there's nowhere in darkness basically. So I'm just using the move snap tool just to keep everything in line with each other and everywhere lit up perfectly, just like that. So so that's what I've gone for there. And then just underneath the two vertical loops, I wanted a spotlight. One loop to be glowing blue and one to be glowing orange, just to kind of match the coaster colours really. Although the whole park isn't going to be orange and blue themed, because that's the colour of the coaster and that's the colour of the main attraction straight away. That's what I was going for there. In terms of what I'm doing next, I had to move on to building the custom fencing for the queue line for Pulse, and I decided on this sort of on the World's Fair fence that this is. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why I picked this one, but it just seemed to fit, especially with the colour scheme. It just seemed to work really well, having sort of the blue, the white, and then the gold tops. So that's just a shot over the queue line now that it's all in. And then that is the entrance. That's the station entrance done inside there. And then as the guests leave the exit, you get this sort of wooden panel fencing that brings you back round to the main path really, where we have the splashdown area. Once I've done that, it was then a case of moving on to just putting some bushes to fill some of the gaps in the path here. Again, just putting, I just wanted something there to fill the space. That it didn't have to be anything in particular. It was just some sort of bushes or just some sort of foliage really, just to kind of fill the gap and make it a more sort of realistic entrance. Because a lot of parks do tend to put a lot of plants in different places and all over the place to in order to do that and make it look nicer really. So that's what I've gone for. Just here, going along the edge of the path, the path was a little bit awkward around the entrance here, so I just had to kind of put this bit of fencing in just to make it look less awkward as it would be. So that was the thinking behind here. Now, coming up in this episode, after I've finished playing around with the fencing just here, we are putting in the second attraction in the park, and that second attraction is coming in the form of a carousel. Now the carousel is going to be sat in the corner over near Pulse. It is going to be on the back of the rocky section there, and part of my thinking here was to get people to come over through the tunnel path that we built going underneath the ride last time, just to kind of split the guests up, get them spread out, and get them sort of engaged with different attractions. Now, because it is only a carousel and it's not a main attraction, I'm not expecting masses of people to be wandering over there. However, it will spread out the guest flow a little bit, and that's my hope really, and that's my hope for what this section will be. There's not a lot of attractions that I'm planning around this area, but there's enough so that so that the guests are going to be occupied, and even if a small handful come over here, it'll just make it easier for the rest of the path, and it won't look so busy. Because one of the things that does get on my nerves in this game is if one path leads everywhere and then the guests just like clog up that path, especially if you've got shops and stalls and vending machines, etc., and you have mascots and everyone there trying to block up the path. It just generally makes things a little bit more difficult. So I mean, you'll see whilst I'm building the fence in here, in between the queue line and the ride itself, that guests are already starting to come over. So that's exactly what I wanted, was that, you know, a few guests to leave Pulse and to come over to this section. Now, again, this is only the second attraction, so I appreciate the reason why they're doing that is because there's not a lot on offer at the park currently. But there will be shortly. You know, the next episode will be putting in a third attraction. I have already recorded that as I'm doing the voiceover for this one. So yeah, there is another attraction coming up, and it is a completely different theme to this area. It is built away from here, so yeah, it's a really unique idea. I've not kind of done anything like that before, so yeah, it's definitely one to stay tuned for. Just on this bit, the other side of the kind of entrance gates, obviously on one side you come in and you've got Pulse on that side. On the rest of it, there wasn't really anything, and I figured that the best way to get around that was to sort of build just a square sort of plaza after the gates, as well as before before the gates, just to spread the guests out. Put a few trees in the gaps that appeared here. Again, just to add the decoration to the park, add a bit of colour, and you know, and also again make it a bit more realistic with different planting going off, so that everywhere isn't just paved and you know, and so on. So yeah, that was my thinking here. And then just around the gaps, it's just a case of putting in some custom fencing as well. Just in front of this gate here, there was a rectangular stretch, so I thought a planter was the best sort of option to fill that void, and that's exactly what I've done there. So I've just put a planter there. And then if you did watch the pathing video that I did a couple of weeks ago, one of the things I suggested there was putting a bench and hiding it within a wall or within something, and that's what you've just seen me do. So I've placed a couple of benches there, so hopefully a couple of the guests will go over and sit down, and it will look like they're sat on the planter wall, but they're not. They're actually sat on the bench. So I don't know. It may not work. It may work. I don't know. But we shall see in the near future. And then I'll just put a couple of rocks there again, just to kind of block off that path from the water. The reason I deleted that section of path just there was I realised that there was no supports whatsoever for the coaster, and it just looked a bit unrealistic with nothing there. So I just deleted that so that there was at least one support hanging down, because coasters just wouldn't float in the air like that. They need to have some sort of support, so that's what I've gone for. I opted to go for this Planet Coaster fencing. Now, my personal opinion, and you know, I appreciate that this is only my opinion, it's not necessarily everyone's opinion, is that I'm not a huge fan of using the Planet Coaster logo in the scenery pieces. So I'm talking about when it comes to signage, putting a sign in that says Planet Coaster, and putting fencing in, etc. So that's but there I thought it looked really nice, so that's what I've gone for. Now here I'm using something that I saw in a video on Channel 5 Gaming a couple of weeks ago. I'm building a wind turbine. I saw a video of a park on PC that was an energy themed park, and that's exactly what I've tried to sort of replicate here. Was I want a sort of like a modern section. So obviously we've got the rocky section to the side where Pulse is, and in this middle section I want it to be sort of like a modern area, at least for the first bit as guests walk through. So yeah, this was just kind of building a wind turbine, or attempting to build one anyway. You can let me know what you think of it at the end. But yeah, this is just building a wind turbine, just to stand out in the park, and and make it look like the park cares about the environment, I suppose. I suppose that's what I was going for. Just here, I'm just trying to get the middle of the propellers set up, and then I just had to build the propellers themselves on the floor and get the size of the pieces right. Now this was a case of making sure that the pieces were big enough to fit the size of the turbine itself, but not too big or not too little to stand out or make it look ridiculous. And I do think it's an okay job, if I say so myself. I don't think it's perfect, but I don't think it's bad either. I do think it works. So yeah, that's what I've gone for. So there's one propeller there, which you'll see I'm just kind of I select it all as a group, and then just attach it onto the wind turbine here, and then it's just a case of copying that 3 times and just spinning around the pieces so that they all fit on properly. So there's 2 blades on, and then there'll be a third one. And then once I have built this turbine, it's a case of copying the whole thing and moving it over, because I want 2 separate turbines, and that will form sort of either side of the sort of modern area that I'll have in the park. So yeah, just at the base of the turbine here, I just wanted a path going around it with a bit of a gap in the middle there. Because I don't know, I just thought it looked like a nice piece of scenery to plonk in the middle of a path. So yeah, that's what I've gone for. There's the second wind turbine, and I've gone for exactly the same here. Just a path coming off, spinning around, and then heading back down, so that there can be something in the little gap in front, but guests can also walk around the turbine. And I think as the park grows, as the area fills up with different shops, rides, attractions, scenery, it will all blend in really well. That's my vision anyway. Whether it comes off or not, we'll have to wait and see. But that's my idea. So just here, I was just trying to move, because I realised that the pole or stand for the turbine wasn't quite in the middle of the top of it. So I was just kind of trying to adjust that to get it to sit in the middle, which I think I did in the end just here. And then it was a case of just moving that, deleting the other one, and copying that over, just so everything did actually fit properly in the end, which it did. And then just to add a little bit of realism, I added a ladder all the way up the back. Obviously, I would like to think the guests aren't silly enough to climb up the ladder all the way up to the top, but obviously there needs to be some way of maintenance or whoever getting up to the top of the turbine to try and fix it. So yeah, I just thought adding a ladder up the back gave it that little sense of realism, really. So yeah, that's what I've done there, and then just had to fix this path back up just to get that joined up. And then I believe the final part of this video is to just build a couple of shops down here. So I wanted a couple of shops just in this little gap. I thought it was a nice little rectangular space to have 2 little stalls and a vending machine, just a slot in there. I thought it fit really well, and then it was a case of just building a small outbuilding just to make it fit with the wind turbine, with the modern chic kind of style, really. So yeah, that's what I was going for here. I wanted this like arched roof, just to make it look a bit fancier, which you can see there. And yeah, using the panels, using the kind of solid metal panels, etc. I think worked really well. And then using these like curved roofs. Again, it's not a building style I've used much, but I did quite like this. So in this area, I probably will use this style of building quite often, because I do think it works out fairly well. So yeah, so as you can see here, I'm just kind of finishing off, and then I'm just going to add a few touches to the building. At the back in the middle there, I wanted to see if I could fit another shop in, so the gap was sort of big enough for it. I was just trying to play about with it, and I could see that the path connected there. So yeah, once it joined up, I knew straight away there was going to be space for one more shop. So that was it. We've got to milk that money off the guests, haven't we? So yeah, that was my thinking there. Although I am conscious that there is queues forming around that path, and I know that the queues can back onto the main path, and that can cause traffic jams. So yeah, I need to sort out the sort of traffic flow of the guests, or the foot flow of the guests there. And then from here, there was just as I say, just a few additions to the building to add. So I think the first thing was just putting a couple of these fiberglass panels on, again just to make it look a bit more modern. Some ventilation panels, and then just need to put some signage. So I wanted some plants hanging down, because I think a modern theme is about using this sort of sci-fi looking scenery, but also using sort of plants as well, as like a natural way for the future, if it would be. So that was my thinking there. And then I've just put some barriers up here, just to again just to kind of keep the guests in line. Not that they would follow them anyway, they'd probably just walk through the barrier. So yeah, that's what I was going for there, and then just putting some sci-fi signage on. So we've got 3 shops. We've got Turbine Treats there, and once we've coloured that right, again, just thought that red made it stand out a little bit more on the building. So yeah, that's why I've gone for that. Then it was just a case of copying that over, and then onto the other side, and slotting in just like so. And then it was a case of just renaming these. So we've got bubbles on one side, and then we've got electric energy on that side. So yeah, really pleased with that. Really happy with that little section. That little section of buildings. Again, I'm just going to watch that queue on the left hand side. It's not so bad on the right hand side because there's a bit of path off to the shops, but the one outside bubbles there, you can see the queue is already forming onto the main path, and I need to look at that before it starts filling up too much. So yeah, there's a small little gap obviously just here before the path that I just needed to fill up and then fence in. And then the last thing in the episode, I just needed to change I don't know what you call it. It's the little black joint that joins the propellers up. I genuinely don't know what you call it. So if you do know, please let me know. I needed to just change that and make it a bit bigger because it just looked a bit too small. So, but yeah, that's what I'm doing now. But other than that, that is it for episode 3. If you did enjoy that, please leave a like and subscribe if you're new. And I shall see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.